Not. Hello, people. Here we go.
It's time for you to get out and nominate your favorite podcast. The show I want you to consider for the People's Choice Podcast Awards is The Outer Realm. And that's in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. The Outer Realm is a popular show hosted by Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano, which has millions of listeners each week. They are well known for their laid-back, roundtable style of interviewing. Together, this dynamic duo brings you the best of the best with guests from around the world who are well-versed within their respective fields of ufology, paranormal, cryptozoology, folklore, and anything else that would be deemed outside the realm of normal. Michelle is an international public figure who has spent the last 2 decades working in the international paranormal community, in research and media. Amelia is a remote viewing medium with 10 years of working with missing children, as well as cold and active murder cases. So go to podcastawards.com to nominate The Outer Realm in the category of Best Female Hosted Podcast. That's podcastawards.com. It's super easy. So just please take a moment and get out and go vote.
Welcome to The Outer Realm with Michelle DeRoche and Amelia Pisano. Airing live on the United Public Radio Network, 105.3 FM in New Orleans.
Good evening, everyone. Welcome to the Outer Realm Thursday night segment. Sorry, had a little oopsie at the beginning of the segment, getting used to some new formats here. Anyway, we are broadcasting live on United Public Radio Network 105.3 FM from the beautiful city of New Orleans. We are fully sponsored by the amazing people over at Folgers Coffee, who have been on our journey since the very beginning, and we're hoping forever more. No pressure, Folgers. Anyway, also grateful for Dr. Snick, the sonic surgeon, aka Justin Snicker, who is our sponsor for our intro and our outro. He is an award-winning composer of Halloween, horror, sci-fi, and dark wave electronic music, perfect for spooky month. And it can be found pretty much anywhere that good music can be found. In the news, podcast awards time, people. As you see, a lot of the shows, including us, we're going to be playing some promos beginning and end of the show. We're going to be talking about it. So it's now. Go to podcastawards.com, find the Outer Realm Radio, and we are under Best Female Hosted Podcast. I believe we're also in the Adam Curry category, which is kind of cool. So go and find us there and seek out any of the shows on our network. And at the end of the show, we're going to play the whole gambit, so you get to see who is where, and seek us out. We really appreciate your support. Now tonight, the Outer Realm welcomes back Machiel Klerk. Please make sure I got this right. And he's going to be discussing how you can harness the power of your unconscious through dream incubation, which is an old age technique that teaches you to basically access hidden wisdom somewhere in here, and it can be used for a lot of personal development. And in order to do that and participate in tonight's show, guys, we are on all the usual platforms. Well, aside from UFO paranormal YouTube, which is down at the moment, dang YouTube. Anyway, International Public Radio, UFO Gods and Extraterrestrials, of course, the Outer Realm. Facebook is United Public Radio, UFO Paranormal Radio. News on the flip side. Outer Realm, of course, Joe Montaldo, UFO Undercover and Canada's Most Haunted. And basically, just chime in. Chat room is open, and it's going to be another great show. And we're hoping that you guys will enjoy it. So we see Linda, Tamara, Wayne. Hello, hello. Had my Folgers this morning, which reminds me, we're still waiting on commercial. You know, there's something else I was forgetting. We're playing our
Where
commercials.
are they?
I know. We're going to play it
Where's
middle
all the
of the show now.
commercials? Scott, where are you?
There's a lot coming
Scott
up.
said he's making one.
Well,
We're waiting on one from the Relic Hunters.
we are. We're waiting on one from Bart Sharp, who's been on the show as well.
Yay,
We've got
Bart.
a lot coming. And
Yeah.
realistically now, because of the podcast awards, we're going to be switching up when we play them. But we will be playing at least one every show.
Absolutely. They're fun.
Probably midway.
Oh,
Okay,
Bradley's
Bradley.
got one
Great.
coming. Yay.
Yeah, chop, man.
We don't want to go without.
I know. Just get
We'd
those
like to
things
keep.
going.
We'd like to.
Hey,
Hi, Michael. We'd like to keep the sponsors with us.
No, they like it. They listen to the show. It's something fun. It's a great way to promote yourselves, and it's a great way to it keeps promoting.
Wayne needs help to film it. I wonder who could help you.
I wonder who said they would help you. That's the freaking best one. It's like, but what do I know? Honestly,
It's a phone, Michelle. You just press record.
it's not like I didn't offer. Aside from the fact that it's crazy ass long arms too, it's not like you can't do one of these easily. So, oh, thank you, Jay. See, this is
I love that he wants to be in
what
it.
we want to see.
Oh, thank you, Jay. Thank you.
appreciate it.
I
Yes,
haven't even
thank
gone in there yet.
What? What the hell is wrong with you?
Because you can vote more than once, right? So I need to, or no.
No, you
Thank
get one
God.
shot at
Good.
voting. I know.
Good.
I went in and
No,
voted for
it's-
everybody on the dang network.
It's better that way because I hate when you can vote more than one time because I feel like it's not really accurate.
It's not really accurate.
No.
No. And yes, Linda, go ahead and make one for sure. And Jay, the commercial we're referring to is making a Folgers commercial. Folgers has to be in it. Somehow has to be incorporated into whatever
You
you're
have to
talking about.
speak it, not just show it, because not everybody watches. They listen
It's
and
audio
archive.
as well, guys.
So it's really important to say Folgers.
I know.
We'll still play it, but it can't stay there because it's about the sponsor.
It has to be, because some people get very creative and include other brands of different things. And unfortunately, we can't really talk about that. But
Yeah.
So good. Look at that too. I voted for
Voted for
Joe
Joe
too.
too.
Exactly, because to share the award. I must be talking about the Centralist. Yes, you do
Good for
get to
you.
share in the
Good for
award,
you,
Jay.
Jay.
That's right.
I'll make sure to vote for you.
I did vote for everyone on the network just to be sure. I'm pretty sure it was like at 12:01 a.m. when they opened. So
I haven't done it yet. I've been just a little bit busy.
And Wayne says,
But,
like
yeah.
two of the busiest people in the world need to do a couple of extra things. I know.
It's not a big deal, Wayne. I'm
Like,
joking. I'm
I
joking.
think I have Folgers at home. Well, I know you go,
Well, if you don't, you order it in or Amazon deliveries.
every
as well.
corner store probably has one in the States. It's the go-to coffee.
I got the cutest delivery confirmation picture from Amazon. You
Yes.
should sponsor us. But
Right.
the box is in front of the side light window of the door, and all you see is the dog arm
It's a
again. So you know he's like,
yeah,
oh, it was so cute. I've never had him in a photograph with them before.
I love it. I
Oh
know.
my god. They probably
always
just
cute
laugh
to
their heads
include
off because he's so small.
The puplets.
Dealing with a haunting and an alien. No kidding.
We know that haunting.
So are
Mine-
we. Just saying.
Mine will be titled Coffee from the Land to the Sea. Let's see that creativity. I love
Oh,
it.
I like
love it. So our guest tonight, he should be chiming in any time. Maybe we can get a head start on it just because it's
Yes, we
embarrassing when we come
can.
in, we're still reading it or not.
Thank you. Yes.
So, there.
Okay.
Go for
Our
it.
guest is a social entrepreneur, licensed mental health therapist, international speaker, dream worker, and published author. He's a world traveler and a student of many cultures in healing and dream traditions, specifically South Africa, his native home. Please welcome Machiel Klerk.
Please tell me. We
I
got
hope
that
I
right.
pronounced that right.
That is, it's pretty close. I know when I came to the US that my name causes a little bit of trouble.
So
It's a-
does mine, believe it or
Does it?
not. Yeah, they always call me Emilia, and there's no E.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. And well, it's actually a Dutch name, and in Dutch you have the sound, so it's Machiel.
Machiel. I like that.
That's
my
really good.
cheese broker is Dutch, so I should know that. But
Right.
his name is Ernest. It's very easy.
You're funny, honestly. With Amelia, you learn food is involved everywhere.
Everywhere. I love to cook. I can't help it. But anyways,
It's true.
yeah.
It's true. So how are you? Thank you for being here.
Yeah, thank you for having me. I've been looking forward to this, and really curious to see where our mutual conversation and journey will take us.
Oh,
Us too.
absolutely. I can assure you there's a lot of people who will be listening. The chat rooms are open. Just so you know, we're streaming across 8 different platforms simultaneously. We will put the comments up for you just because it's good to read them off, because we've got a lot of people who are only listening via audio,
Mhm.
and they're not all in the streams. Or not. I don't know. Where'd he go?
Last name Pisano. We Italians love food. Yes, thank you. I'm also a cheese wholesaler, so of course I'm going to talk about food.
The cheese. I know. Here we go.
Lactose
Be one of those
intolerant, married the
things.
cheese guy. Yep. Just
You're
saying.
welcome, Lynn. No problem. At your
Yeah.
leisure.
Thank you, Shady.
Yeah.
Facebook keeps freezing up. It could usually, when something freezes up, it's usually in your neck of the woods, not necessarily there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm waiting for an email. Maybe he's just lost internet.
Hi, Steve. Yeah.
I don't know. Hey, Steve. Yeah, so I'm really interested to see how where he's going to go with this. Harnessing your unconscious through dream incubation, an age-old technique I did not know. How teaches you how to access hidden wisdom that can be used for personal development. I also checked out his website. I think it's up here. Well, his book Dream Guidance looks interesting. That's his personal site. Here's the interesting one, guys. Go check it out. JungPlatform.com. He does a lot of courses and workshops on here that they look really phenomenal. Like, I mean, a lot of light work and such. And I don't know. It looks really fascinating. Dream interpretation. I always get asked about dream interpretation.
Oh my God, that's a good question from everybody. I'm just laughing at the chat room because it's all about cheese right now. But anyways.
Oh, way to go. This is what we freaking need. Freaking cheese show. We bring Joe in. You can talk about how he barbecues that. It's just like...
The only thing you can barbecue is Greek cheese. There's no other cheese you can barbecue. I wouldn't want to clean that mess.
I am going to go in. I have no idea where he went. So
thanks, Jay. Have a good night at work. Stay safe.
Jay, have a good night. Okay. We thought maybe you didn't like the format.
I was like, this is it.
Yeah, I'm not doing
You're
this.
just a little far away, so just a little bit, so it happens, right?
Oh my gosh.
Well, actually, I am in the US, so
that's still far away. We're in Canada.
Oh, you're in Canada. Well, that's right.
We're streaming through New Orleans. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
So I guess where I like to start, and then you'll find this is very relaxed, very round table like. And you're going to get to do most of the talking, because it's very important to us that you talk about everything you want to see get out there, because there's a lot of people listening. So why don't we start off with what I call humble beginnings, whatever the part of your journey is that got you to all of this amazing stuff that you're doing.
Well, the first real point was in my early 20s. And I got stuck in my life, and it was a convergence of several things that came together. I hadn't dealt well with the grief about the loss of my father, who died when I was young. I was smoking a little bit too much weed at that time. That wasn't really helping with motivation in my case. And it was legal in Amsterdam, where I lived at that time. and and I didn't go to school anymore, and I started becoming really depressed. I didn't have a vision for myself for the future, and by some fortunate chance, I stumbled upon the works of Carl Jung, and I started reading that, and it really fascinated me. But it also gave me a way of understanding dreams,
Mm,
and different way of looking at the world. So my worldview changed, and at once I started having a flood of dreams that started showing where I was in my life, and give me some insight in dynamics that weren't working well, but also helped me connect to my deceased father, and to a sense of purpose.
mm.
And then life started to change significantly for the better. So I've ever since been diligently writing down my dreams and seeing where they were leading me, and
Mm.
that has I've been very grateful for that, and with all kinds of meanderings that has led to today.
Wow. So just by writing down your dreams, um, because I mean, some people have some pretty obscure dreams. I have people say they send me some of the craziest. I don't even do dream interpretation. I
Mm.
know how. So people say, I had this dream, and I'm going, I don't even know if there's a message in that. It's just like so far out there. And then you start realizing that things in dreams are not always what they seem. Like dreaming of giant spiders, for example, or spiders, I learned meant that you were going to be coming into money. And I've seen that happen firsthand with people who have sent me things like that. Or dreaming of death, for example, is more along the lines of beginnings, or the ending of something old, and
Right. Yeah.
right. So for you, um how did you know you weren't getting just one of those crazy dreams? Like, was it starting to look like a pattern, or what had
Yeah,
happened?
well, of course, it is a little bit of try, test, error, change. But
Right.
some dreams really, what at that time especially would do is I would look at what the patterns were in the dream. Who are these characters? And
Hmm.
then ask myself, uh, is that character living somewhere in me as well? And then I would start seeing, quite a lot of these figures that do certain things in dreams. I recognized that behavior in myself, and some
Hmm.
was helpful, and some was just destructive. And then
Hmm.
I could change my own behavior. In that way, dreams can be kind of psychological X-rays. They show us parts of ourselves that we can't really see, or it's a bit hidden, or we hide it from ourselves. But the dream brings it up, and
Hmm.
then we can change our life. And one
Hmm.
way that I often these days also do is, if I don't understand the dream, or someone comes with a dream, I just ask them, what is the experience? And then you don't, let's say I encounter this giant spider, and then I start fighting it. Well,
I'm
where in
fighting
your
the
life?
money. I'm fighting the money.
Well, maybe.
Invite the spider.
There might
Invite
be
the
some
spider.
spiders in a dream, no doubt. I'd be looking for Captain America.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
But let's say not a spider, but a tiger or
Yeah.
something, and then you say, where in your life do you encounter something that you are afraid of, and then your response is to fight it, and then
Mm.
very often you will find that place
Hmm.
that where you have that pattern, and then
Hmm.
So, and if you don't dream, a lot of people don't remember dreams at all.
yeah. Well, research shows that we have about 2 active hours of dreaming each night, about 4 till 7 dreams.
Hmm.
Yet, what happens when we fall asleep is that our memory goes offline. So,
Mm.
actually, our mind stays awake, and our mind has all these dream adventures of which we don't know much because our memory doesn't store it. So, when
Mm.
we wake up, our memory comes back online, and that's also why you have to write it down right away, because otherwise, the memory isn't fully functioning and it just evaporates. But
Hmm.
Hmm.
if people say I don't dream, it's more you're not interested in dreaming, most likely, because if you would start
Oh.
writing them down in the morning, I guarantee you have 2, 3, 4 dreams a week.
I believe that people, because like you said, the mind shuts off, so the subconscious goes as soon as you wake up. What I was told a long time ago was to easy when you get up, very slowly lean over and recall and go over
Yeah.
what your thoughts are at that moment and write it down.
Yeah.
I'm a firm believer in it. I have to dissect. Machiel has taught me to dissect dreams in small pieces to make them out. My mother passed away when I was 27, so she was really good at this. She was
Mm.
someone who knew everything about it. Just from that's what I wanted to ask you. Do you find culture has a strong play in how we read our dreams and understand them, interpret them?
Yeah, just to come back to that point that you say, you wake up slowly, and what you also described there is that you then just repeat the dream so that the dream gets stored in your memory. And so very often the advice is to people just stay in bed, repeat it 3 times, and then you can get out of bed and write it down.
Mhm.
That's
Um,
interesting.
yeah,
Yeah.
Because if you get up, you jolt and it's gone. It's
yeah,
gone.
or you
But
drop
sometimes
your
things will
your.
trigger your dream. But
Mhm.
I believe, as you said, that you need to write it down as soon as possible.
Yeah.
So,
I don't know. I dream a lot. I know I do because I remember all of them. I'm not one of those people that wakes up and it's gone. I think it's because of my abilities that it stays with me.
Hmm.
But it's
I
also I try
different
to
from me.
recall it. I do. I'm
I
like,
used
what were
to.
you telling me? What's going on? I think it's part of what I do as well, though.
Yeah, for me, I could lucid dream like nobody's business. I could
Mhm.
continue it, stop, fast forward, pause. I can continue it from any point, night after night after night. And then one day, everything just stopped.
Really?
Yeah, no,
Not
I
kidding,
still
huh?
do. I still
Test
do.
subject. It did. It just stopped all of it.
Yeah.
I also tell myself that I'm not going to have certain dreams before I
Right.
go to bed. I'm not dreaming about that. I don't want to recall that. And I tell myself that. And for me, it works out. Shady D says, isn't the dream world the same as out of body travel?
Well, if I can, maybe we all can answer that to some extent. What I think is that there are other worlds with an S at the end, and
Mhm.
the dream world is an other world, but the dream world is also one's own world. So it's not just that we all enter into the same dream world. We have a personal flavor to the other world, and then there are other worlds like the out of body experience or maybe astral travel, um, probably the near death experiences. Those are all other world journeys. And I think that there are multiple other worlds coexisting to this world. So also when we go to bed, the other world of dreams show we enter into that world. But when we open the eyes again, the other world of dreams doesn't disappear. It continues to coexist, and that allows us to work with the dream in a certain way, like engaging with the dream characters and bring them into this reality. Maybe, well, anyway, that's my response. I don't
Interpretation
know
of it.
if that,
Yeah.
Well, your interpretation means the most. You're the expert.
Exactly. Exactly. So, if you want to, start having this experience, how do you train yourself to do it? Is it through meditation? Like, what do you recommend?
to build a relationship with dreaming, it really see it as a relationship, and sometimes it helps to imagine that there is a wise, compassionate counselor that lives
Mm.
inside of the dream or behind the dream that is interested in helping and educating us. And so, if you say to the dream, if you haven't had dreams or you want to nurture and strengthen it, you could say, dreaming, I know we haven't been in touch much recently, but
Right.
I would love to reconnect. And I'm going to write you a letter. And then you write the dream a letter and say, I would love to hear from you. And if I have a dream tomorrow morning, I promise I will write it down first thing. And of course, you have to follow up with that so that the dream knows that you're interested.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just continue to to talk to the dream and the dream beings and pay a bit of attention. And then you will see that you get helpful dreams.
Mm.
And then it starts opening up that you can ask the dream questions, and you can do all kinds of dream experiments. Or when you're lucid in a dream, you can do all kinds of experiments that can help a person really on their life path.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, it has helped me a lot, and I love to
Right.
encourage other people to tap into this marvelous
So,
Oh my
way of
gosh.
being.
how
Dreams
to
are
explain
fascinating.
dream incubation? And this is a fascinating term to me because it just sounds like it's just it is like a nurturing of it. But in your part of your bio states that it's an age old technique to be able to use this. I have never heard of it, but yet I'm quite fascinated by
Yeah.
it, what it involves.
Well, dream incubation in a nutshell is the method of asking your dream a question before you
Okay.
go to bed.
Oh, okay.
So you would maybe say, dream, what is one type of food that I should eat? Or how can I love myself more deeply? Or how can I increase and build my business better?
Mm-hmm.
Whatever is relevant to your life journey and your heart, you can ask the dream for support.
Hmm.
And this method has been done by almost any culture around the world throughout history.
Hmm.
And I've traveled a lot around the world to the African shamans who do this, or in the Asclepian tradition in the old Greek times, people would walk to the temple of Asclepius and ask for healing. Those were around a lot of around physical healing. And that is also what I try to write in my book, in a simple 5-step process, how people can do this for themselves and get support from the dream world for whatever is relevant to their life journey.
Right.
Tamara says, so it's like setting intention before going to sleep.
Yes, that is a key element of it. And what I've learned with studying all these traditions and with my own work with patients and work groups and myself is it hinges on finding the right question, and then the intention is part of what I call a ritual. And a ritual is just intention, expectation, putting some heartfelt effort into a moment in time, whether it's you light a candle, you talk to, whether it's you want to talk to God or to the dream or whatever you see as the mystery of life. You can ask it the question and
Hmm.
spend some time on it. Meditate in bed. If you want to have some inspiration, maybe for a painting you make, you put an empty canvas next to your bed, so that helps with that ritual, and the intention setting is a big part of that.
Right. Right. God, that's fascinating to me because for myself, being able to control all of that so easily at one point, and all of a sudden it's like you hit a brick wall. It's like, so, but it's funny because there have been times where I do just that unknowingly. I'll think
Yeah.
to myself, God, I wonder what this is, or why is this weighing on me? Why do I have to pay attention to this? Maybe something's trying to
Mhm.
draw my attention to it. And then you go to sleep, and I'll call it downloads, or I'll just get messages. I often think maybe, I'm just not allowed to remember a certain amount of things because I'm supposed to remember what's important, not such frivolous things. It's how I used to look at it. After listening to you, I'm thinking maybe I just need to have a better filing method of just taking it all and breaking it down. You know,
Well, I think what you over that I've seen that a lot of people automatically notice is that if you go to bed, that's often the dream will respond with
mhm,
whatever is on your mind, and
right.
a lot of these cultures really had elaborate processes and rituals to do that. But um, uh, yeah, but you can
Mhm,
just ask your dream that question. But you could ask a question as, "Is anything blocking me?" Or dream, "I would love to reconnect again. Please send the dream." And if the
mhm,
dream doesn't send you a dream, then ask it, how can we start this again? Because I wanna reconnect,
mhm,
and then something will happen, because the dream is always on standby, ready to help.
Oh, it's almost like it's a sentient being.
Yeah, there's definitely an awareness and unconsciousness in the dream or behind the dream, and the dream characters not infrequently possess a level of awareness that surpasses at least my awareness.
How would you explain recurring dreams?
Recurring dreams are they contain a message for the person that the person just hasn't picked up on. And that's as if the dream continues to knock on the door and say, hey, you haven't gotten ABC, the following thing. And people can have a recurring dream in which they continue to run for the classroom and they need to do a test and they can't find the classroom. And that dream will show up every time that they feel they're under stress and that they need to do a test. Somehow they feel being tested by life, and what they
Explain, yeah.
and then their habitual pattern is that they start running, they start speeding up, and they don't think well and they can't find it. And what they need to do is when they start feeling that they're being tested, actually they need to find a different way of relating to that. And if they maybe slow down and can breathe and walk slowly, then they find a different way to deal with it. And then you will also see that the recurring dream disappears, because then the individual has solved a life issue, and the dream doesn't have to come back showing
Yeah.
what is really
Or
going on.
accepted something. Yeah.
Yeah.
I've had the same recurring dream since I was a little girl. I don't understand why.
Maybe
That
you're
one's
missing something.
that one's really disturbing because it does grow, but the beginning is always the same. And people have said to me, I've had these recurring dreams since I was little, and I never have an answer for them because I myself don't understand my own. Shady says, how would you stop another person from approaching you in a lucid dream?
You could so a lucid dream is a dream in which you know that you are dreaming. So you're in a dream and it's like, oh my gosh, I'm in a dream. And that moment gives a lot of opportunities because you're really aware. And I don't know who this person is that she feels that is coming to her, but she could ask a question as, who are you? Do you have a message for me? What brings you here? Because then you first verify, who is this character? Perhaps this character has something interesting to say. If that is if you feel if that's not the case, and then you could say, uh, please leave my dream, or say, yell something out as spirit guide or higher power. I do not want this person in my dream. Please put something around me. Or you can just turn around and fly away, or say, I want to be in a different dream, and then you
Right.
turn around and
Because lucid dreaming is very much about being in control
I was just
of your
say
dream,
that
right?
at the same time as you. It's
Get out of my
very
head,
much that
Leah.
way. Yeah.
Speaking of,
Sorry. But
Yeah.
yeah.
And what it does is it gives you a lot of options. The dream world is just like this world. There's also an aspect to it that is we didn't create. So like the street in front of my house is really out there. That's not me. There are
right.
parts of this dream world that is not me, and we're not 100% in control, but we can engage with this world. And we can, for example, I once in a lucid dream yelled out, is there anyone with a message for me? And then my youth hero, Johan Cruyff, which is a soccer player, came flying to me and said, come with me, I'm going to show you something. And I think, okay, no, we're flying. And then he says, look, here's a crossing. And I see it down from this viewpoint. And he shows how I can cross a crossing. And in the lucid dream, I'm like, that's not the profound revelation I was hoping for.
Right.
but
We're just hanging. There's really
well,
nothing going on. It's
yeah,
like, oh my gosh, that's funny.
but
Um,
just to quickly finish it,
yes, of
but
course.
then when I woke up, I wrote it down, and then I noticed, oh, actually, I'm in a cross point of my life, and he told me, oh, this is how you cross. This is when you stop, and if the traffic comes, don't get fearful, don't run back, just wait, and then go further, and
So
so it
there
was
was a
actually
message,
helpful. Yeah,
right? It's
but
just a matter of realizing it's a message and not just
yeah,
a
and I and I
process.
and I think that is very often with dreams, and why we also in the morning dismiss the dream, is because it answers things that we didn't think about or in different language, and
Mm-hmm.
then we think, not important. But if
Mm-hmm.
you spend some time with it, it's very often there's something meaningful there.
Right, right. So being aware, I would think
Mm.
awareness is part of that.
Mhm.
Amelia, do you want to get that one?
Yes, thank
Adrian,
you,
hi,
Michelle.
Adrian.
Adrian says when we see other people in dreams we don't know, are those people projections from their dream or
Hmm,
are they
question.
residents of a dream world? Wow. Yeah.
Good question.
Great question, Adrienne. Um, so not all dream characters are created equal. And so you have a range of characters that you can meet in the world of dream. And the first one is what is in, for example, in Buddhist tradition is called a thought form.
Mm-hmm.
You have a thought or a belief. For example, if this was a dream and I would become very self-critical, and then maybe my critical boss comes in, and then you would ask who is this character, and we say, oh, this is a critical person. So criticalness takes on the form and shape of someone in our lives that we experience as critical. Those are thought forms, and those are projections of your own mind.
Mm-hmm.
But then there are also characters, and especially in lucid dreaming you will encounter that you can ask a question, and they seem to have a lot of knowledge and insight and are sometimes very wise, and they tell you things you don't know, and those are beings that are not you and that are living in that world.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's of course also you've probably also had a deceased ancestor visit you in the dream.
Mm-hmm.
So those again a different category of figures that we can meet in the dream.
Right, right. I love it. I love being visited by my ancestors. I think it's so fascinating. Um, when you answered the question that was asked about stopping another person from approaching in a dream, she continued on with it. I'll put it up for you, Amelia.
Yeah.
Thank you. There are times when I have shared dreams with someone who is very good at controlling their dreams, but I feel it's an invasion of my privacy.
Right.
So
I need to say it
is
again.
that someone else comes then in her, that person comes into her dream?
Yes, that's. I guess that's what she's saying. She goes,
Yeah.
"How do you?" The first question was, "How do you stop another person from approaching you?" And I guess you covered. Well, maybe there are messages, but what if it's somebody you know that keeps
Yeah.
they're really good at what they're doing and they keep
Mm.
pushing themselves into your dreams?
Well, there is a protective quality in one's own psyche, and if you ask whatever you want to call it, you say a larger awareness. I'm very uncomfortable with this figure. Please set up a wall.
Right.
Then your own psyche will create a wall that that person cannot go through.
That's
I like
actually
that.
really good to know. Yeah, that's excellent. Okay, another. Here we go. Chiming in.
Yeah, Tamara, I love this question. Do you look at colors in dreams? Because some people do not dream in color.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, most people actually do, but so very few don't. But I think that colors do have meaning, and not a fixed meaning per se. But there's also where you at Amelia, where you had in the beginning a question about of a comment about cultures and meaning. Some cultures associate to red passion and fire, and the other culture thinks red is a dangerous color.
Mm-hmm.
And so it depends a little bit on one's own experience with those colors. But colors represent energy and represent meaning, and
Vibration.
vibration. Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
That's how you win in Vegas, Tamara. Just saying, I've been kicked off a few tables. Judy says, I have
I
had a
like this
recurring
question.
dream since I was a little girl. I believe that it's an event from a former life that was traumatic and was the cause of my death in life.
Maybe this is it with Amelia. Can
I think
some
so,
of
because
these
I die
be,
in that dream a couple times. Yeah.
but death is just the beginning of something new.
Or if you're Italian, extends your life.
Or that. So could it be, when you have these reoccurring dreams, could it be an imprint from, I'll say a past life. I'll go one step further and say ancestral, like DNA imprinting, maybe.
Yeah. We are the culmination of previous lives, whatever way we want to think of it.
Memories.
Memories or DNA or
Mhm.
karma or what Jung would call the collective unconscious.
Yeah.
Or in a metaphor, if you would think of the psyche as the ocean, then we
Mhm.
would be a wave, come back in the ocean, and then the ocean would create a new wave, and that would be the next wave for the next life. But that
Mhm.
would be built up out of all the water that has existed before. Just like physically, we are made from star dust, which
Right.
is billions of years old,
Right.
and but what is possible and what you see is that certain themes get inherited, and so if a theme like this comes presents itself in this life, it asks from us to engage with it, and so we need to find some way to figure out uh, to work with that memory, and and you could use that technique of dream incubation even for it, like asking a question, or how can I work with this, or what do I need to know about it, or how can I solve this,
Mhm.
and then you can work with it till that memory or that dream doesn't repeat.
Mhm. Yeah, she said she was killed by a bunch of snakes, so it doesn't sound overly, overly pleasant. It sounds very Vikingish, actually, Judy. I think they used to do things like that. In the
Yeah.
pit you go. So I prefer not to work with snakes. Yes, I understand completely. Okay, now we've got. I want to go. I don't want to miss
Well,
anybody.
she could ask, for example, a question as, how can I best deal with this dream? And then see what a dream responds, what a dream wants
Mhm.
as a form of engagement. Because we know not dealing with problems will never solve them, or especially these bigger life imprints, they don't disappear by us ignoring it.
Right.
So some form of engaging with it, drawing it, bring it into the dream, asking the dream some questions, will help a person to grind it and work through it.
If it's karmic, especially, maybe you have to
Yeah.
address it and be aware of it. I mean, let's face it, some of us keep coming back and it is karmic and we have no idea because that's the funny sense of humor that's out there. It's like, we're going to throw you back out there till you get it right, but we're not going to tell you what you did wrong. It's like, what?
Yeah, but 30 years of the
That
same
just
dream,
sucks.
it's not
I know.
easy. Yeah.
But, so I think maybe dreams in a way have, maybe they're there also for the karma, being able to reach out. But again, I think it comes down to awareness and being able to realize, no, these are actually messages coming to me. See, I would go with messages. I would also go with memories. I believe the unconscious or the subconscious, everything that makes us, our essence, retains everything, but our physical is what's not capable of remembering any of it. But if that's the case, and when if the physical mind truly, the body sleeps, you're saying the mind doesn't sleep. So it has this way of accessing the unconscious, subconscious, but you would be able to pull out all of those memories, all of those wonderful memories, or the sad memories, or your loves, your losses, your
Hmm.
griefs, your everything.
Yeah.
That could get really heavy. It's very hard to try to separate all that and realize, What is a message? What is a memory? Why am I remembering this specific memory? Why is this message so important? How do you catalog all that? How do you even cope with all of that? Especially if you're just beginning or you have no understanding. For you, it would be simple, but there's a lot of people that have no clue. What is a
Well,
message from a loved one? What is a past life? What is a
yeah, and usually when people ask a question is what is the experience or what is happening,
right?
and then you look at the dream and just describe what is happening, and then figure out ways to relate to that experience,
Mm.
and and then inevitably something will happen, and the next dream will comment on it, and then you will get a sense. Oh yeah, I think it's this.
Hmm.
Um,
So it
so
narrows it down over time. If the dream is making you aware, and if you're actually going, oh wait a minute, if you're
yeah,
aware of it, then it's like they all start sort of chiming in a way to narrow down the actual reason why it's all happening.
yeah, because something in us wants to become itself and is really aimed at the realization of one's own potential.
Hmm.
The dream tries to help us grow or become more conscious and realize our potential. So the dream is proactively helping us work through previous life, current life, life themes, and figure out how to heal the wounds and let the talents flourish.
Okay, okay, I understand. Okay, just we can put this here, go Amelia. This is basically for Judy, who prefers not to work with snakes as you were killed by them. This is one of those
I
things. It's
like
not what they
Shady's.
seem.
I
Yeah.
was going to say this. Snakes symbolize renewal and removal of toxic energy, like the death card in the tarot deck. And it's also on the pharmaceutical and the physician's cross,
It is.
which
There
I
you
have
go.
to add. So it is a form of healing. And again, you always have to remember it's not what you think. Perhaps the snakes are telling her that there is some deep rooted healing that needs to be done.
What do you what do you
I don't
think?
know. I'd be seeing snakes all the time.
Oh,
Well,
what is our? We'll
I
let
have
you
a
chime
few
in
in
on
my
that one.
life.
well, the thing is that here you do have a symbol that comes that in the Greek tradition with that caduceus, where it is
Hmm.
the snakes curled around the staff for the healer, and
Hmm.
in some Christian traditions it's the devil. But so it can be seen from different angles. But this dreamer could ask the snake something as, "Why are you here?" Or "Do you have a mess snake?" And then you draw the snake, and then you need to be a bit courageous and say, what do you want to tell me?"
Mm.
And then you can
Mm.
see what it brings, because then you build your own relationship to these particular snakes that live in the depths of your own being,
Hmm.
and then you can work through it. And I can
Hmm.
understand that it's a bit scary. So sometimes a person wants to bring in first a safe figure. Maybe they had a grandmother that was really kind and supportive, or a teacher that they remember. And then just imagine that grandmother to be there, and then you spend some time there, and then you ask the dream the question, what and you tell the dream, in the best of my own in my best interest, and for me helping to serve other people, and help the realization of my own soul, please tell me what is snake.
Hmm.
And then you learn what snake is, and then you can figure out how to relate to it and what to do with it.
Hmm. So there's your answer. She's a
She said,
medium, and
she
she's going to
said thank you. Yeah.
delving. Um, so then that brings me when you mentioned grandmother. I know there's this Kira has been basically waiting for this.
Yeah.
So this comes down to, I guess, visitation dreams or ancestral dreams. Is she just missing something here, perhaps?
Of course,
Dream,
that always remains the question: is this my mind creating grandma,
right?
a thought form, or is this really grandma being in my dream, which also happens, can happen. Um,
Right.
I know that in my own case that I've looked at these ancestral visitations, and very often they take place in the house where I am. So if I they come in my own room, and so then I know, oh, this is usually a real visitation. And if it's a little bypasser in the supermarket,
Mm.
it usually isn't. But maybe look at, are there specific ways when grandmother comes, and otherwise you could always try to communicate with them and say, Grandma, if you visit me in a dream, uh, wear your favorite dress,
Hmm.
or give me
You want
bring
a sign?
something. Yeah, bring a sign
Yeah.
so that I know it's you.
Mm.
And then you can try to establish a relationship and communication with them. And it doesn't always mean that they will do that, but we can put out a request, and not infrequently. They are
Hmm.
also, if they come and visit us, they would probably like to know us to
Mm.
know, hey, yeah, that is you on the other side.
Hmm.
And if they have the ability to put on a dress or give a sign, they might do that.
Okay. So I will take this to the second part of her comment, which may assist with your response, Amelia.
I was gonna, I'm ready to answer this. Kira says, my grandmother has visited me in my dreams before with my aunt being her daughter, but this was a dream about her death, and she passed away when I was 31.
So a few years. So again, it's a dream of death then. So
I'm
beginnings.
There's
I'm not sure.
beginnings
I'm
and
not sure that I understood it. It's the grandma.
Yeah,
Who
the
died?
same lady, the same
it's
question.
the
She goes,
same, yeah.
yeah, she was getting the dreams before and she felt like they were visits, but this time
Oh,
she's dreaming about her death. So I think it comes down to what we were talking about death before, which
yeah.
is it the end of something and the beginning of something new? Is it
Well, that is definitely a symbolic reading.
right?
Death is as an end, and initially first the end, and then then a beginning of something new.
Right. So maybe she's acknowledging something that she might have, something that you may be doing, Kira. Maybe you started something, a new part of your journey or something. She was just acknowledging it or telling her maybe that something's coming.
Yeah, or
So,
that.
oh, Hex. Okay. Well, we'll leave that one right there then. So, so to me, I would love to be able to touch more on ancestral visits because how do you know your I mean if you don't know who your ancestors are, I'm one of those fortunate people that I know a lot of my family lines that go
Hmm.
way back,
Yeah.
but for those who don't, how do you know you're getting an ancestral visit as opposed to a past life thing or just you know little blips of God living in your favorite movie. That's had to say it, sorry.
Yeah, no, but those are really valid questions, and questions that I think everyone asks themselves when they have an ancestral dream.
Hmm.
And very often with the with ancestral dreams of people that we knew, loved ones that died, there's a certain intensity in the dream, and a certain conviction that this was indeed Uncle Joe,
Mm.
or this was indeed grandfather. There's a certain conviction, and and very often it feels there's a healing quality to it. Somehow some healing
Mm.
sense remains, and and that is with the loved ones. Of course, if I was visited by my great grandfather, I wouldn't recognize him,
Mhm.
so I wouldn't know for sure if it was my grandfather, if it's symbolic. But then I would just also look at what is he doing, and does he tell me something, or what brings him in my dream,
Mhm.
and then I would see if I could figure out if there's a reason, if he's doing something, if he wants
Mm.
to help or support me in some form.
Right. Right. Yeah. So I know, I can only speak for myself. Whenever, my grandparents passed away, they were always at the same place. Every time a family member in that family passed away, there
Yeah.
would be one more person at this house,
Yeah.
for example.
Yeah.
It was just like really weird, but I
It's
knew who those
familiar.
people were.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but that
Yeah.
is that is just like they come to me in my own house.
Yes.
So it's almost like they made an agreement with me. It's not this is the environment we do to visit you,
Hmm.
and like in this house is maybe a bit of their agreement with you. If you see us here, you know we're real ancestors.
And we're here, we're together.
Yeah,
Yes. Yes.
yeah.
Right. Okay. That's interesting. So, dreaming, let's say you can get the hang of it, because it
Hmm.
sounds to me like it's something that you would really, I mean, I don't want to say you would almost need extensive training just to teach you how to become aware, because there's so many different aspects that, in our world of working in the field of otherworldly or supernatural realms, there are things out there. That's what they do. They come in through your dreams and your psyche. I don't know what that was. Not me.
I live in the country. Nothing drives by here.
Okay. I was like,
No, was indeed here in the
did
street
you?
from.
Okay.
That's okay. That's okay.
As I'm talking about supernatural realms. Okay.
Michelle panics when there's a
It's
sound
like,
she can't. Yeah.
yeah. Um, so bearing that in mind, there are things out there that make it their mission as part of what they are to infiltrate and mimic. I can't tell you how many people, especially people who are in grieving,
Hmm.
will say, "Oh no," and I don't know if it's because they want that message so desperately because they never had a chance to say goodbye or whatever the reason
Yeah,
may
yeah,
be. But things do come in to say, "Oh, hey, I'm that person.
yeah.
Communicate with me," and then all of a sudden things go, really dark in their lives because somehow they've accepted this. How do you, or would you recommend? Um, Protecting yourself from something like that if you're not even aware that you are maybe being targeted.
Yeah. uh, uh, well, when we're in that vulnerable state of deep grief and heartbreak,
Hmm.
we usually are more open to negative visitations because
Right.
we have our own wound, and that our aura is broken open, or
Right.
whatever way you want to describe it.
Mm.
And uh, so one is, of course, always tend to your own heart, and uh, the try to state good intentions. So call upon your higher power or your
Mm.
spirit guidance in support, and say, if anyone visits that does not belong to me, and
Mhm.
that does not support my life path and is not helping me serve other people,
Mm.
then that is not welcome,
Mhm.
and that will help. And I've been a lot in Africa where there's a lot of people sending dark spirits to each other,
Yes.
and, uh, and
Yes.
and and there's a lot of rituals that they do to protect themselves from dark spirits coming in.
Hmm. It really is that simple, isn't it? Like, in the power of intention. Like,
The
people
power of
actually do
intent,
this to each other.
yeah, and just they're not welcome, and try. But if you have a bit of darker thoughts, or you want to be greedy or whatever, that's then you put yourself in a frequency
Right.
in which these beings also operate, and then you become more vulnerable. So try to be just kind-hearted, but not in a naive way, but try
This
to work on your own path. And
positive vibrations,
yeah,
frequencies.
yeah,
Yeah. Right. Yeah, absolutely. It's great advice. Um, yes, exactly, Tamara. I'll put this up for people who are
yeah,
watching. Praying intention. Intention. See, it comes back down to intention. Mindset, I think, is that key. Everything starts here as to raising awareness. I always say, be aware, evolve. And I think the dream process is a part of that. Um,
yeah,
it's just trying to reach back and be all that we can be, because we don't realize we're very exceptional beings with amazing gifts, and we can remember everything if we just know how to tap in. So essentially, a dream is like tapping in, but you are preparing it in advance.
Well, in the technique that I wrote in that book, Dream Guidance, in which you ask your dream a question, indeed,
Right.
you prepare before you go to bed,
Hmm.
ask the right question, do the right rituals, and then you can elicit support. And it's really for anything on your path, as long as it is emotionally relevant or spiritually relevant to you. So if
Yeah.
I would ask, what did my neighbor eat for dinner?
Right.
The
That's
dream
irrelevant.
the dream might think, well,
And they're like, why are you asking us this?
yeah,
There's something deeper.
How would we
yeah.
know?
But if I would ask, how can I be a better, how can I be kinder to myself, or how can I be kinder to, what's one thing I can do to love myself more deeply?
Right.
Then the dream will come and bring support.
Right.
And
Right.
and to jump back to that intention setting, intention comes from the Latin word intendere, and means reaching out. And an intention setting is, we, the human, reaches out to something larger than ourselves, the larger awareness that's behind the dream, in order for it to support. So you ask the larger awareness, please support me against these darker forces. And you do that through the method of intention setting.
Right. And this you can do to, like, in your everyday life. So what would you recommend on a day-to-day basis? Just after a while, you would think that you got all your bases covered, you know. I'd be just driving my dreams crazy,
That's true, and
you know.
I think it's just one method to apply once in a while. You can
Right.
test and experiment with it, but I don't ask my dreams every night a question. I
Okay.
let it very often up to the dream. But if I
Mm-hmm.
would be stuck in my life and I've done my homework and I couldn't figure it out,
Mm-hmm.
then I might ask the dream, how, what could I do about this, or how does it look like for me to take this job? Or I recently worked with someone who was back in the dating life, and he asked the question, dream, what is the biggest blockage that I have in my dating life?
Mm-hmm.
And then he created a whole ritual around it, and he had the following dream, and he said, I'm driving in a square tunnel. In front of me is a car, and then I see a mountain lion. When we get a little closer, the car in front of me slows down, and it's actually a tiger. And I get really scared, and then I start backing up, and I drive back.
Hmm.
And so he writes down the dream, and then the question that he asked himself is, what is the experience? What is happening?
Mm-hmm.
Somehow, in he's in a tunnel that gives a certain setting, and in a tunnel, he sees something that he's get afraid of, and when he gets afraid, he backs away. And so that is the biggest blockage in his dating life. And so now he
Right.
can start figuring out, where in your dating life do you get scared? That is one, to figure that out. And then the second is, when you get scared, your reflex is backing away. And that's
Mhm.
and that's you need to learn to sustain that fear and probably move toward it.
Seems like a fear of the unknown almost. Like
Yeah,
you just see something that, you know,
yeah,
what is that? Is it a tiger? Is it a tiger? Is it a lion? Maybe it's a cougar.
That could be
Sorry, I
more than
went
one
there,
thing, though.
people.
Just saying.
Yeah.
Um,
uh,
I just want to say I know from my experience that going to bed in gratitude for everything is a good way to mindset and have pleasant dreams and messages as well. How you fall asleep, your
yeah,
feeling, your energy, your frequency at the time
yeah.
does change how your night. Yeah. Mm.
Thanks so much for sharing that,
No,
because
thank you.
yeah, that it's also in a lot of Buddhist traditions, they practice compassion just before they fall asleep, because just like you, they have experienced that the state that you're in before you fall asleep very often translates further into the dream. So you feel gratitude throughout the night, they
Yeah.
feel compassion throughout the night. And this method of dream incubation uh, is in the same tradition of you put a certain intention and expectation out there, and your dream is gonna respond to that.
Hmm. I believe that. I believe that when I was, for the last couple years, I've just been grateful before
Mm,
going to sleep and thanking,
yeah,
always saying thank you. Thank
yeah,
you for, for this day. Thank you for this life. And it changes everything and how it goes for me, anyways. I think it'll
yeah,
help anyone who's having nightmares. But my allergies are killer. Sorry.
Well, that's okay.
yeah.
Um,
Oh, but that is beautiful.
thank you.
Yeah.
Hi, Mike. Adrian says, if someone is in a coma, would you say they are in a dream state? That's a good question.
Well, there is a little bit like what we briefly touched upon before, is there are other worlds,
Right.
and the dream is an other world, and I think that the coma is an other world in itself, very close to the dream, but it's
Mm.
not a dream. Just like an out of body experience has similar features, but is not the same as
Yeah.
the dream world, and the
Yeah.
coma world appears to be another world in itself. And so some people do remember things from their coma, and they have
Mm.
all kinds of experiences, but yeah,
Hmm.
it's an other world experience.
We have
Right.
so little information on the state of people when they're in coma, so
Yeah,
very little, which
Mm.
just leads to believe that there is, little to no memory
Hmm.
and
of that. You have very few instances in stories where you'll hear people say, "Oh, I remember hearing this," or "I spoke to you." It's rare.
Mm.
yeah,
It's rare. I feel like the brain is just in a different position at that time. It's just a different.
well, and the coma is especially when it used to be very close to death.
Hmm.
People would get a certain would get, and the closer, if you get very deep in the other world, also usually the memory doesn't work as well as in this reality.
Mm. I could see
No.
that. I could see that.
Yeah.
Right.
Tamara, do you find stress stops a lot of people from dreaming or remembering their dreams from being in that vibration?
Good
Yeah,
question.
good question, Tamara.
Mm.
It of course when we remember, most of our dreams is in what they call the REM sleep. When if you ever seen a partner move their eyes,
Mm.
they're in the REM sleep,
Right.
and that's a deep, more a deep sleep phase. If you're very anxious and you wake up very quickly and you don't descend in that deep sleep, you will have fewer very vivid and dreams that are more easily to remember.
Mm.
So if you sleep poorly or are anxious, you sometimes don't descend in the deep sleep, and you have more difficult with dream recall.
Mm.
But what Amelia just said, did I pronounce it this time right?
Yeah, I like the way you say my name. The accent is just like, yeah, it's good.
Okay.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
my name works like that, definitely. Yeah.
Yeah. You could say it backwards. I'd still be like, yeah, that's good.
Good.
But yeah,
Well,
I thought that was a really good question.
yeah,
I
and
find
like you
stress is
said,
huge.
but what you said, Amelia, about the gratitude, people, it's very hard to be grateful and anxious. So
Mm.
if people practice gratitude, they will be less anxious, and they will sleep better and have more dream recall. So it's a good practice for anxiety and dream recall.
Right.
Perfect. Well, thank you,
Again,
David.
yeah, well
Welcome.
said. Yeah, welcome, David. Nice to see you. Stick around.
Tell your friends. There's only a few million of us here.
That's right. Have you ever heard of dream weaving?
I know I've heard of the term, but I don't know what particular they mean with this.
Well, that's why, I was asking. I've heard the term also, dream weaving, which I believe it's basically when two people can weave their dreams together.
Oh, okay. When
Does
they
that fall in under lucid dreaming again? Is it
you don't need to be lucid. Sometimes people have reported to be in the same dream. I
right?
I remember when someone said, "Oh," to someone, "Oh, yesterday I dreamt that we were in a roller coaster, and you were sitting behind me," and that
Right.
person said, "That's crazy. I dreamt about a roller coaster too, and you were sitting in front of me." And then they were describing the dream, and it was very much like they were in the same dream, but they weren't lucid. What I've heard of people in lucid dream states that they decided to visit each other. So if you and I would decide, let's get lucid tonight, and if that would work, we'll meet each other, and then I'm gonna give you a dream sign, and maybe I'll do this or so, and then
Mm,
the next day you have to say, well, one, did you see me, and two, what did I do? And then you
right.
can verify of whether it was really the other person. So people have very credible reports of meeting each other in the dream
Mm,
and in lucid dreaming. But
mm-hmm.
a dream and a lucid dream are really the same thing. It's
Right.
just a lucid dream is a dream in which you know that you are dreaming.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you're more aware in that dream state.
Yeah. The official. I mean, I'll just read you what I brought up, just so I'm clear on it because I don't know enough information because you're the dream guy. So, but it says in dream weaving, there are two ways of dreaming that are connected. Similar to sewing with a needle and a thread, the cycle of waking and sleeping becomes a journey where we pull a thread from the sleeping realm, or we becomes a journey. Yeah, pull the thread from the sleeping realm into our waking life, being conscious, the overworld as they call it, reality, and then weave it back into the mysterious realm of sleep.
Well, that sounds that you take something out of the dream work of dream world, work with it here, and then bring that back to the dream, and then the dream weaves it further, and you weave it, and
So it's like a continuation, just creating.
yeah.
Kind of creepy, just saying.
It's a little bit different,
It's a
isn't
little
it?
creepy. I wouldn't want it to.
Yeah, well,
I
here,
don't know.
of
I
course
have
you
to
did,
agree with
Tamara.
Kira. I've got the song Dreamweaver in my head too. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Tamara says, I have experienced dream weaving. My mom had the same dream. I started explaining it and she ended what my dream was. Mom and daughter, I could see that.
Yeah,
Yeah, I could see
Yeah.
that.
yeah.
You're sharing DNA. Shady says, what about dreams that are shared through generations? Wow. My grandmother, mother, myself, and my granddaughter all had the same dream when we were about 5 years old.
See, that's crazy right
That's
there.
fascinating.
Yeah, and so that suggests that some karmic family karma is re-emerging in each person, and that they all
Oh.
have a similar theme, life theme that they are working out.
Was it
Wow.
a pleasant dream, Shady? Or if you wouldn't mind elaborating on that, I'm very interested
Yeah. Okay. Well, that's hmm.
because karmic. The next question you want to ask is, what did you dream about? If it could be karmic, I would want to know how to stop that as well.
Keeping on the dream weaving.
Hi, Adriana. Not sure if we covered this already. I've had unwanted guests in my dreams. Is
Yes, we
that
have.
still dream weaving? We
Yeah.
have, but no, it's not. I don't think it
I
is.
don't
Or it
think
could be,
that would
though.
be dream weaving, would it?
Not if it's
It's more
unpleasant.
like, yeah, it's more like lucid dreaming, I think, with somebody else who's just interfering.
We might be able to help with that. I have a feeling I know what that is. That's a different show.
Okay, here's another one.
Adrian says, I have had dreams that seemed activity and event wise to take many hours, yet I was only asleep for a short nap. It's as if a full day was crammed into 30 minutes. Strange. I think that's common.
So, yeah, time just worked differently in the dream state, or
Well, it is also the more intense our experience is, that our experience of time just does change.
right?
Mm-hmm.
And just like if you're in a flow state,
Mm,
time seems to fly, and for doing something boring, it's time goes very slow.
right.
True. And it just feel like that. You wake up and you think, I've been dreaming this dream all night. And meanwhile, you don't have dream state all night. So
Yeah,
it's not
Mhm,
possible. But
yeah,
it does, you can wake up exhausted from a dream.
that's
mhm.
right.
Yeah. It's
Oh,
just
no,
But you
crazy.
need
exactly.
another
Especially
night
if
of
you
sleep.
eat before bed, because then you'll dream
Okay,
constantly.
is that an old wives' tale, or is that actually a thing? That's what I'd like to know. If you eat before bed, because it's funny you say that, because you grow up being told, "Don't go to bed. We're eating this, or you're gonna have nightmares." Or is that an old wives' tale? Or is that actually a thing? I'm glad you brought that up.
I think it depends
Well,
what you eat.
That's what I wanted. Especially you.
maybe I don't have that, and I think that it is the same as with that intent, if belief and intention. So if I believe that if I eat an apple before I go to bed, that I will have scary dreams, I most likely will have scary dreams because I put an expectation and intention out. If I eat a pear and I believe that will give me answers,
Oh,
then
but
I
you're
will
eating
have
healthy,
answers.
Mikia. You're eating healthy. We're talking like people who
Yeah.
eat burger and fries before they go to bed or Chinese food. Yeah, you're going to be messed up, you know? Like,
You
I know
could,
that I
yeah.
could have a small piece of cheese and I'm fine.
Yeah.
But yet, if I eat something crazy or you're at a
Mm,
party or something and you have
mm,
something heavy,
yeah.
I will have the stupidest dreams. It's not funny. The
Yeah.
dumbest dreams, like Barney's coming to get me kind of thing. And not
What?
necessarily, yeah, I know the whole I love you, you
Singing the
love me
song
thing, but
Jolene in your head friggin'
not
morning time.
not necessarily
Mm.
horrific and nightmare as crazy and not you can't understand it and unexplainable, that kind of stupid dreams,
But that's what
where
we were
frogs
talking
are
about
talking to you or
earlier. How do
something.
you interpret dreams that just absolutely do not make any sense?
I think it's digestion.
Okay, we're going something more interesting. Like, how about spirit guides? Let's talk about spirit
Oh my
guides,
goodness.
and do they come through in your dreams, or do they basically? I like to think that some spirit guides are more, well, some are more subtle than others. Mine not so much. So
They smack you over the head, or they
pretty
come in.
much.
And,
Mine doesn't wait for me to dream.
So exactly, exactly.
well, of course there's spirit guides that they're with us all the time, and so they are in this reality. But if we enter the dream reality, they can also be there. And it's one of the oldest ideas that every culture in the world has the idea that we come into the world with a spirit guide, or like the Greeks said, a daimon, not
Right.
to be mistaken with the demon. With the
Mm,
daimon would be one's talent and guide and taskmaster. The Romans called it the genius, so everyone
Hmm.
would have a genius,
mm,
and that word comes from from the African word genie, that means the spirit that's already there. So a spirit is older maybe than you, or comes with you into this world and helps you. And in the dream, it could show up, and maybe it doesn't show up in a form that you think this is this light being that is here, but it might come up as a helpful teacher, or the helpful grandfather, or a sports hero,
mhm,
anyone that tries to support and help you,
Hmm.
mhm,
and it can take on different forms and shape. And so the dream is definitely a place where we can meet our spirit guides.
mhm.
You can also just hang out
Right.
with your spirit guide in this reality and continue the conversation.
So again, you just have to be aware that this is your spirit guide. So you have to ask the right questions, perhaps. Otherwise, this could just be, again, you don't know. Like, is this somebody from back in the day? Is this, an ancestor? Is this
Hmm.
some random dude kind of infiltrate my lucid dream? So
Hmm.
it's things like that. It really is awareness. Like I think it's real. It's just a matter of trying to train yourself, and there's a lot. There seems to be a lot to remember. We're going to do station ID, but we're going to do a little bit
Gosh, I
differently.
already forgot.
No, it's okay. What I'm going to do first, though, just to make sure, because people were still looking for Folgers commercials. Come on. I'm going to start off with a Folgers commercial, and then Amelia, you can go in and do the full sponsors, because Folgers does watch the show.
Yay.
Just saying.
Yes, they do.
Okay, here we go.
Yeah.
As I've gotten older in life and learned to enjoy the simpler things, I find that in my old eye I see things a lot clearer. Phony friends, phony ideas, and just plain nonsense. You learn to appreciate the good things in life, the simple things. Grandkids, your children, your home, everything you have. And when it comes to something good and simple, my choice has always been Folgers coffee. Honest, true, just like TTNA.
There we go, people. Look at how easy that is.
Perfect example of what to do.
Promote yourselves.
In a
Tell us who you
commercial.
are, but you've got to incorporate Folgers. We'll play it. Millions of people will hear it, and it will stay in the archives forever. And just our SoundCloud archives alone go into the hundreds of thousands.
Amen.
So send them on in. All right, Amelia, now you can do your part.
Thank you. You are listening to The Outer Realm with Machiel Klerk and myself, Amelia Pisano, coming to you live from the gorgeous city of New Orleans on 105.3 FM. Tonight, we are talking with, I'm hoping I say this right, Machiel Klerk. Stream or listen to our archives in the platform that you normally use. You can find us anywhere. Just Google search us and we'll come up. Shout out and thank you to the amazing people at Folgers Coffee for fully sponsoring our show from day one. We love you and we thank you so much. And a huge thank you for our intro and outro, lending his voice and his creative, amazing genius music, Dr. Snick the Sonic Surgeon, Justin Snicker, award-winning composer and musician. You can find his music on Amazon and Bandcamp. And if you want to contact and interact with him, you can find him on Facebook and Instagram as well.
There we go. And for the record, the commercial was done by Wayne Murphy, who is I guess he's the big kahuna over at the new Wisconsin Templar
Say that
Discovery.
again, Michelle?
Team Templar North America. Wayne
Wow.
Murphy, our big kahuna over there.
Which site was that?
That's the new discovery of a tomb. There's 5 different
The
five
actual
different locations
real
at the Wisconsin site now, and evidence that the Knights Templar were indeed in North America. So thank you, Wayne Murphy, who is
He does the best commercials.
He does. He's got the commercial voice.
Yes, the natural radio voice, and he covers all the bases. Shady did get back to us with the answer on regarding that dream. She said, my generational dream was skeletons filling the bedroom, and we were all able to demand that they leave. I remember waking up after yelling at them to get out, and so did my granddaughter. Is that empowerment? Now remember, each one of them had that dream at 5 years old. So she writes, I didn't even know what a skeleton was at the age of 5. No, I would hope not, that you would not know what that is.
Well, the fact that the dream continues to repeat suggests that not completely the karmic challenge of the dream has been solved. And if it was my dream, I might change it and ask the question in this dream incubation method of who are you, skeleton? Or if that doesn't give the answer, skeleton, do you have a message for me? Or why are you visiting me? Because there seems to be skeletons, and if we look at it a bit metaphorical, why would there be skeletons in the room?
We need to look at the interpretation of what
more
a
than
skeleton
one.
is, perhaps.
Yeah.
So maybe it would direct her more to asking your questions if you knew what the interpretation of the skeleton is, what it actually represents in an actual dream.
Yeah.
like I did with spiders. I'm like, God, I hate spiders. Somebody came to me with that, and it's like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. I figured out what spiders meant, and it was easy to interpret the dream, so it would be easy to ask the right questions. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Yeah. And in this case, of course, skeletons could indicate maybe different things, but
Mm, yeah.
uh, if there's we all have this notion of skeletons in a room. You looked it up.
Yes.
Of course you did.
Of course I
Please tell
did.
me
I
it's
work in
related
law
with food.
enforcement. I check everything. Um, it says when you dream about skeletons, injury, trouble, accidents, and other problems should be avoided at all costs. It's a condition in which a negative chain is easily triggered by the dreamer. So it sounds like karmic. There is also, it means that you will reveal a secret that could put you in danger.
I, I
That's so
think that,
ominous.
yeah, I think that is too much of a one-sided
Mm,
possibility.
I agree.
And if this dreamer just would ask the dream, skeleton, why are you here? You
mm,
will hear from skeleton itself why it is there, and
right.
then you can figure out, because
Yeah.
there
So
appears
it's
to be
really
some
that simple.
skeletons in this family,
Hmm.
and what
Yeah, because 5 generations, that's really so,
yeah,
the message is not being addressed, I'm
right,
guessing, like it's not or being acknowledged.
yeah,
Hey, Edwin from
There's
England. Hello.
it's very, very much too generalized because if you check another one, it asks you, are you talking to them? Are you
Mm,
looking at them? Is there a group of you? There's so many questions, but
mm,
we have the expert on, so I say listen to him.
yeah, like what Wayne says. What the question would be if you would ask the skeleton, which might be some unfinished business. What is unfinished? What brings you here, skeleton?
mm-hmm.
Because then you learn what the unfinished business is, and then you
Yeah.
can start working on that unfinished business.
Yeah.
And then maybe the dreams stop at this. So,
If
well,
if you if you get it right, the dream will stop.
right.
Oh, see, look at that. I've
See,
never
right
looked it up because
there.
I didn't want to know if it was a bad omen. There was a huge secret that was told to me a couple years ago. It does say it's revealing a secret.
Okay,
So in
there we
that little
go.
bit, it does fit. It could be just convenient, but it does fit. I would definitely
Sweet.
ask because there is no better
Mm,
answer than
right.
that.
It
It's
seems
There's no
honest.
better answer than that.
Yep.
it seems
Yeah.
to me like this has a lot to do with healing in one form or another. Your bio says that you've traveled a lot working with different cultures on healing and dream guidance.
Yeah.
So, is this everything we've been talking about to this point? Is this all really about healing from
Well,
past life karma or past ancestral karma, which got passed on to us into the future? Or,
yeah, I think it has for a big part to do with healing. In a certain way, if you would look at your own life, there's a lot of healing that is taking place. It's of course also a creative expression. So creativity and healing are walking perhaps hand in hand.
mm,
Um, but in my own life, I've known that, well, my journey into the world of dream really started because I was wounded, and otherwise I probably wouldn't have opened that door and gone through all the trouble.
right.
And still, um, wounds are we all carry wounds.
Hmm.
Yet at the same time, I do also think that life is a creative endeavor, and we're trying to bring our gifts into the world. And our gifts and wounds are often also very close to each other.
Hmm.
And so healing our wounds lead to delivering our gift, or bringing our gift into the world is also healing.
Hmm.
Hmm. I
And
like that.
and in dealing in mental health, do you find that you're able to resolve, working with people from all different walks of life with so much going on up here? Have you been able to resolve a lot of their trauma and help them heal through this dreaming like guidance?
Yeah, dreams do help. and some problems don't truly get solved, but you learn to live with,
Right.
or
Okay.
you live through them, or you find some way to be with it
Mm.
that doesn't hurt as much. Then maybe the wound becomes a scar,
Right.
and um, and I think there's an innate tendency to healing in the psyche, and
Mm.
dreams help us be quicker in touch with the healing agent that is active in us. So
Mm.
dreams can help a person heal, um, but
Mm.
yeah, of course, the individual also who comes in any form of therapy also needs to be ready and needs to put in the work, and
Mm-hmm.
it's a bit of a two-way
Mm-hmm.
street between the individual and the healing agent
Mm-hmm.
that's active in us.
Right. Right. And of course, this varies from culture to culture. I always find cultures to be so fascinating, and oral history and their beliefs in many ways, like shamanism.
Hmm.
Because you ayahuasca, you're delving deep into everything that's going on up here, and you do go into, again, I don't want to say necessarily a dream state because you're in an altered state,
Yeah,
but how different are they? Because you're still, like, to me, I look at the altered state of DMT or ayahuasca. Just, you're not far off the dream state because you are like
yeah,
out there.
yeah,
So do you, and but they come back from like an experience and go like, I feel like I've connected and I feel better.
yeah,
Are they similar?
yeah. That it is again another form of the other world,
Okay.
and
Yeah.
and the dream, and these other worlds have a lot of they're different, but there
Right.
is also a lot of similarities how these worlds are created,
Right.
and this world and the dream world and the ayahuasca world, they
Mm-hmm.
function for a big part on our belief system,
Right.
our intention, expectation, willpower, focus, where we
Mm-hmm.
focus upon, and then there's a mystery factor X. It's
Mm.
not just an just our mind. We're connected to some larger world with its own that has an ideas and consciousness of its own, and that is
Mm-hmm.
really creating that world. We're just
Mm-hmm.
interacting in that world, and the more we know how this world is created, how our mind actually creates co-creates the dream world, even then we also learn how how we perceive this world,
Mm-hmm.
because this world has the same creating principles, but it's much denser than the dream world. So
Mm.
this goes much slower. But also in this world, the intention setting and the expectation factor,
Right.
they all play a role,
Right.
and and so we can learn how to navigate these different worlds that way.
Well, I asked because I've met one individual in specific who said, I used to dream of these certain type of beings, that just not from this world,
Hmm.
and ended up with an ayahuasca um, experience. And he goes, they were there,
Yeah,
and I was able to connect with them, and it seemed to help this person a lot. So that's what I'm thinking. Are they connected somehow? Because I know the different world theory, or the theory, your what you're saying, um, but somehow these two merged together.
yeah, and it appears that all these worlds are coexisting. So the
Right.
ayahuasca world is existing next to this, and the dream world and the out
Right.
of body world,
Mm-hmm.
and because in this world, if we daydream, it's actually
Mm.
just dreaming consciousness that comes up,
Right.
and we have access to that, and
Right.
so we can travel between these different worlds,
Right.
and
What?
So, oh, sorry, were you
No,
gonna
no,
ask?
no. It's okay. I was going to say, what is your opinion on people who daydream a lot?
well,
Just asking for a friend.
sure. Well, tell your good friend
Yes,
that
please. I think she's watching.
That is a couple of things. Is she daydreaming? Is it distracting her from her work?
Constantly.
Yeah. Then also the question is, what is she daydreaming about? Because
Ooh.
maybe there's some interesting content that presents itself and that forces itself into her life. Then why is she having these particular daydreams? And then it becomes a bit of the question to bring some of those daydreams in, probably into this world. Start bringing those fantasies back here.
Did you just say fantasy?
Yeah, I think
Bubbles.
fantasy.
I thought I was reading into it a little bit more than I am, but
I'm just
No, but
razzing.
I think that daydreams and fantasy
Right.
are just in the same family.
I have to agree with that. I tend to blame it on the astrological sign of Pisces, but it happens so often. But I also believe that it's got a lot to do with a short attention span as well. If I am bored, I'm out. Like
Yeah.
I lose focus so easily,
Squirrel.
especially if especially if I'm not interested. It's like boom, I just shut it down and I move along. It's terrible.
Mhm.
But yeah,
Right.
thanks, Tamara. I do daydream too, Bubbles. Thank you. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I was asking for you.
There we go. Pass the buck. What do you? Let's talk about the collective consciousness for a moment. When we dream, could we pick it? Because we are all connected,
Mhm.
right? Could we be picking up on tidbits from other people's dreams or thoughts?
Yeah. Totally possible.
Ah,
And we can pick up on other people's thoughts or information about other people, or
mhm.
all kinds of information can come to us. There's also a lot of evidence of especially artists that got a song in a dream or a
Yeah.
painting, or figured out how the book needed to get the next chapter. So there's a lot of information that comes in the dream to us that is not from us, that is from something larger than us.
Right, right.
Sorry, it's that way. Everything's backwards on the screen. Shady says that's the Akashic field.
Akashic field. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I guess so. Yeah, the collective consciousness. The Akashic records, I'm guessing. You're just
I've never
reenacting.
searched those.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What? Missing out on so much.
Nah. My history's all over the internet. It's so easy to find mine.
There we go. True enough. True enough.
When your family's in the history books, it's a little bit easier.
Right.
But yeah.
Right.
Very
Right.
cool.
So, you offer different workshops and such, because I was perusing through your website. Joe, do you want to talk about that a little bit, just as we slowly start inching towards the top of the hour?
Well, actually, this Saturday, July 9th, I do a workshop on figuring out to figure out the right question, formulate the right question, and then
I like that.
create a ritual for your dream. And you can find it on Jung Platform, Jung Platform. I think I saw the link come by in the ticker. And it's titled Dream Guidance. Normally it's $67, but if you bought my book or wrote a review on Amazon, you can join for free. And then we're going to do that. And big part of this process really hinges on figuring out the question that is most alive in you, the question that really wants to be addressed and wants to be answered. And so we're going to spend some time on Saturday on getting to that question and creating rituals, because the technique is very simple, but it hinges really on create a ritual, get a good question, and then you build a relationship with this wise counselor that lives in the depths of your own being.
God, that's really deep. It's just like makes you feel like you have like a split personality thing going or some kind of possession. So,
Well,
yeah.
I hear you, but I think that we're actually the front man in a larger. Our psyche is just very large, and we're inhabited by ancestors and other figures that live in that same psychic field, and we're just the front man in this enterprise. And the better we can establish relationships with the spirit guide and with your
Mm,
ancestors, the more in tune with life you live. And
right.
ancestors and spirit guides are on standby, ready to help out, and especially they help out if we engage them. So
Right. So
yeah,
you're never really alone. That's what you're saying.
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
No, you're never alone.
Right. See, they go. When people sit there and go, "Oh, I'm by myself, I can't tap into anything." You actually don't really need to. All you need to do is set your intention
Yeah,
and you can create your reality
Mm-hmm.
simply by paying attention and being aware to what they're trying to tell you on a regular basis that we're
yeah,
just not receiving. We're not getting the memo, essentially.
No, and stay in gratitude because happiness lives there.
yeah. Gratitude is super important, and build a relationship. Talk to ancestor, spirit guide, the larger awareness.
Hmm.
I would love to live a more fulfilling life. I want to bring my gifts into the world. I want to touch people with whatever it is that I have to offer. That can be humor or baking cookies or making a beautiful garden.
Right.
And the creative force of life is interested in helping a person do that.
I love it. Here's another question. I
Shady,
love these.
I love binaural
I
beats. Do you
do.
suggest binaural beats while sleeping to enhance dreaming, or is it better to learn lucid dream techniques organically? I pass
No,
out with binaural beats.
you do
I love
neural
them.
beats as well.
I love
I
them.
do, but to
Yeah.
fall asleep, not.
Yeah.
I do all kinds of different brown noise, white noise,
I
whatever
love
it takes to
frequency
keep
work.
the voices out of my head.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
just like frequencies, the change, how it makes me feel.
Yeah.
Yeah. There's not a better method. Lucid dreaming is really an awareness practice, knowing that you're in a dream. And I think whatever way you get in the dream state and realize, hey, this is a dream, great achievement. You're aware that you're in the dream state, and now you can do an experiment.
Mm.
And that's the fun thing. So when you get lucid, make sure you have prepared and that you think thought about what you want to do. And
Mhm.
recently, I had prepared for becoming lucid, and I became lucid in the dream, and I yelled out, "Dream! I would love to experience unconditional love." And then I got zapped into an energy state of unconditional love
Wow.
that lasted for a minute, and then it went away. And I had this beautiful experience that now carries me also further in life. And but what I want to say with that is you can do all kinds of experiments, but try to prepare for your dream, your lucid dream, because in the lucid dream you sometimes your mind is sometimes a little bit less sharp. You go like, oh, what do I want to do here? Yeah,
Right.
just figure it out. And
But you're more in
Mm.
control than you think, realistically, as to how this all goes.
yeah, yeah,
So, yeah, so don't fear it. Just just put yourself in control of it and wait and watch the magic happen, I guess is
and,
probably
and watch the magic happen. You could even
right.
yell out, "I want to see some magic,"
It's
and
Right.
then
fun.
see
Yeah.
Right.
what happens.
Write it down. Don't forget. Write
I
it
know.
down.
Bubbles
Keep
says,
kicking my camera. Sorry.
write
Yeah.
it
Write
down.
it
I
down.
know. I know. I
Write it
know.
down. I know I've said this a million times. My sister-in-law, when my brother passed away, she wasn't dreaming at the beginning of him, and then slowly he started to come into her dreams. I know that she just didn't recall them because it was so traumatic.
Yeah.
But I told her to keep a journal and to write, and it was very little, but within the year before his anniversary of his death, she had the message from him.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah.
and great encouragement to, and also for the listeners, write down your dreams. And even if you have a nightmare, just write down the nightmare. And all the research shows that just writing down the nightmare is changing the nightmare and will help you digest whatever that experience is that is trying to come through in the nightmare.
Because even a nightmare could have a message.
Nightmares,
Absolutely.
yeah, always have some message, but we're so afraid of it that we try to push it away,
So you
and
never get the message.
you never get the message. Yeah,
So you have to overcome the fears as well.
yeah, and you can start slowly. Let's say you have a monster chasing you, and you
Mhm.
make a drawing of monster, and you tell monster, I find you really scary, and gosh, you're actually ugly, and
Take control of it. Yeah,
and I wish you weren't here.
right.
But now that you're here, let's get acquainted a little bit. If you chase me a little bit less, I try to listen a little bit more, and then you
Right,
will see what starts happening. Something will happen.
right. So
I can hear your culture come through in those words.
it's all a different perspective, just looking at it differently, because it's not it's not all what it looks like. It's there's a lot of hidden stuff in there. It's like a
Yeah,
treasure trove of hidden, as you say, hidden messages, hidden knowledge that we're being given the opportunity to tap into.
yeah, yeah.
It seems so simple.
Well, and all cultures somehow have this notion of ask and you shall be given,
Right.
and uh, and whether it's in Christianity or in the Islam or in Hinduism or in shamanism,
Mm,
it, the idea is that ancestors and spirit guides and the larger awareness are on standby, ready to help. But there's also free will, so they cannot intervene all the time. But if
mm,
we give them, say, an informed consent that we need their support, they're there to help.
right.
And so building that relationship in daytime through talking, in night through setting an intention and do this practice uh, can
Maybe it's good to start with daydreams.
daydreams are great, and then really look at what are you daydreaming, what
Hmm.
and then ask yourself, why would I have these daydreams,
Hmm.
what might this be? If
Hmm.
I'm working all the time and I daydream about taking being
Right.
in Hawaii, maybe I just need to take a vacation.
Right.
Or
So,
you daydream either about things you like or don't
mm,
like.
right. So you start off with daydreams, guys, and you can graduate to like nighttime dreams.
If I wrote down every daydream, I'd run out of paper. Oh my gosh.
So as we are nearing the end of the show, how can people find you? Where do they find the book? What you've got coming up? We know about July 9th, but just
Yeah,
promote.
thank you. So
You're
the book
welcome.
Dream Guidance is published by Hay House and can be found on Amazon or Barnes and Noble, also in all the Barnes and Noble stores in the physical reality. Book Depository is wherever you are in the world, they deliver for free. And there's an audio book which I happen to speak to do the audio itself. There's a Kindle version, and you can go to my website machielklerk.com. There's also information about my book, and I have also a company that I started out of a nighttime dream called the Jung Platform. And in the Jung Platform, we provide psychological and spiritual programs for the general public. And a lot of these terms from Carl Jung are probably known, such as synchronicity and the shadow and archetype.
Love that.
And
Yeah, incredible being.
yeah, and we provide a lot of introductory programs on that. With a program on the tarot that does really well, Jungian approach to the tarot. And yeah, I encourage people to check it out and check out the book. And if you like it, leave a review.
You
And
get like better deal on your
you get a
on your
great deal
workshop.
and
Yeah,
get free in my workshop.
there we go. I love it. I
Yeah.
love it.
All your information is posted on our page as
Oh,
well.
yeah. And it will sit in all the archives as well, the websites, everything, all the links, the book, everything is there. So it doesn't matter where they go, they will find it all. And thank you so much for coming on. It was just
Thank
so
you.
informative stuff. I love to dream when they let me remember anything. At least I know when I do remember them, pretty substantial and usually do have amazing meanings. But I never would have thought that I could actually re-exercise my brain, my mind to be able to get back into it and retain more of it.
Yeah, tonight would be a great night. We've talked 2 hours about dreams, so you're primed. And then
It's
you
in
tell your
there.
brain, you might want to rekindle this.
I absolutely agree. And I was thinking that. So we might have to do this again. I would love to talk more about synchronicities and shadow work and things like that because I do work in, shadow work and such. And it's not always what people think. It's quite different in accepting all of that,
Yeah,
as part of who we are
yeah,
working in shadow.
yeah.
So, but I will be in touch with you. And I do thank you again very much for joining us tonight. It was really a pleasure.
It has been a joy and a delight to be with you, Michelle and Amelia. And
Thank you.
thank you for
Thank you.
dreaming along.
Thank
Bon
you.
nuit.
Oh, Amelia.
It's French. Everybody understands it.
Oh, okay. Well, that's I don't even want to go, but the whole French, starting to see Gomez Adams in my mind right now.
Oh my
So,
gosh, Morticia.
yeah, see we go. You put an Italian twist on everything.
I do. I can't help it.
I know.
Hundreds of years.
I know. Anyway, thank you very much again, and I will be in
Thank
touch.
you.
Thank
Have
you.
a good night. Thank you
Good
so
night.
much.
Bye bye.
Bye
Good
bye
night.
now. Well, that was really interesting, I have to say. Our guests never cease to amaze me. I know we learn something new along with everybody else when our guests come on the show. So big thank you to Machiel for joining us. Such a pleasure. Big thank you to Folgers Coffee. Big thank you to Dr. Snick. If you'd like to communicate with Amelia and I, again, I have to say, please contact us, not on social media. I never get there. I apologize. Just too many. So please reach out at theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com, theouterrealmcontact@gmail.com. I'm going to be a harpy. Folgers commercials, come on, we want to see them. If you enjoy the content on any of the platforms you are listening to the show on or watching the show, please subscribe. We do have our own Outer Realm. Show some love. Subscribe if you like it. Click that little bell so you get notified when we're doing like pre-records and stuff. It's the only place where it happens. Just saying. Also, the big one, podcastawards.com. Go find the Outer Realm under Best Female Hosted Podcast and check out the Adam Curry category because apparently we're in there as well. Next week, we have the return of Frank Jacob. Got a little crazy last time. We got knocked off YouTube. So it's going to be good. But we had to put up a warning saying we all got to behave this time around. But it was just amazing. So he's going to pick up where he left off the last time, maybe discuss some of his films, his personal views on extraterrestrials, especially with the disclosure thing. And of course, now we've got the Georgia Guidestone things. I'm sure he will chime in on that. And of course, the ever popular Looking Glass information, which is just going through the roof right now. You won't want to miss that. Thursday evening, for the very first time, we have Natalie Zett, who, this is just very fascinating to me. She wrote a book where the main character is not actually a person, but a tragedy that very few people have heard of. It's called The Eastland Disaster of 1915. And this is what happens, she says, when you're innocently investigating your family's history and the supernatural intervenes. And in the end, she basically states, I learned from writing my writing adventures, my book, Writing Adventures, when you awaken the dead, expect the unexpected. So I thought, God, this is going to sound really interesting. So we're going to leave you guys with this. So we're going to bring this on. Here we go. Thank you. Thank you.